The NBA Cup break is almost over. I have a few more trade thoughts I would like to share before the games restart for the Pacers. Plus, Gabe McGlothan is on a 10-day deal with the Pacers and some notes from practice this week, many of them quite important for the Pacers. We get to all of it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name is Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin. And today, many more things to get to as the NBA Cup break is finally over. Pacers Knicks tonight, and then back to a normal schedule and not 2 games in 10 days, which was great to catch up on stories and injured guys and see where the Pacers are and watch them sign a new player. But we all love the games. Pacers Knicks tonight will be a blast. I want to share a couple more trade thoughts I have that Rhett and I did not get to. Some of these about what I would consider bigger topics for the Pacers of late, particularly among fandom. Some of them things that I don't think fans are considering enough. Then we're going to talk about Gabe McGlothan, who the Pacers signed to a 10-day deal 2 days ago, but we didn't have time to get to it with Kyle Taylor yesterday. I'll explain the why on that, which is very intriguing compared to some other hardship deals that they did, and some important other notes from practice this week that I think you need to know about. Cam Jones, Ben Mathurin, and many more guys. I'll start with scattered trade thoughts, as everybody loves to hear. This time of year, they have passed December 15th, yada, yada. A lot of guys can be traded now. Here's just some I type down my random trade thoughts a lot, just like, this could be a segment at some point. None of them are worth 10 minutes, but all of them together are certainly worth 10 minutes. Let me start first with Ivica Zubac, who I've heard a lot of fans talking about. I think there was a report about him or the Pacers. I don't remember. I don't want to give light to something I don't know myself, but Zubac is awesome. Like, he would be a great, first and foremost, he'd be a great center for the Pacers. He's a beast on the glass. He's a really good defender. He was an all-star level player last year. I don't think people realize that about Zubac. He's that level of good. It would also take that level of stuff to get him. And every time I see somebody talking about Zubac speculation, I think the packages are underrating him. Like, it would take a very good pick if it does not good prospects in the trade. He's a beast, and the reason it would take a lot of good stuff is he's a beast with an awesome contract. He is a top 10 center in the league, making less than $60 million over the next 3 years. That's a steal of a deal, and for those reasons, he may be extremely hard to get. I get it, the Clippers suck, they might be sellers, but they don't have their first-round pick this year, right? Being bad on purpose does them no good this year. He's also cheap contractually, only like $20 million, the year that they should, given the rest of their team timeline, want to have cap space. So sure, if the Clippers get an awesome young thing that they really love, or like an absolute banger pick, yeah, maybe they'd part with Zubac, but in the absence of those things, you are not getting him. And so some of these packages I've seen fans float as what they would consider reasonable are just well short of what, if I were the Clippers, I would want. But don't get me wrong, wanting Zubac on the Pacers is very smart. He's a very, very, very good player. Another thing that I have not maybe seen people talk about enough, but have seen people think about is, they're not very good. The Pacers are not very good right now. Their second round pick will also be good. Nembhard at pick 31, Furphy at pick 36, 35, whatever it was, 38 for Cam Jones. Like, they have loved the top of that second round. And in theory, you're on the right track. However, they don't have their 2026 second rounder. They actually traded away forever ago. And this is why people always talk about, well, why does it matter if you get second round picks in trades? They're nothing. They could be nothing. Well, one, they have a starter who was a second round pick. I mean, they have lots of players on their team who are potentially good or are good who are picked in the second round. But two, let me untangle this web for you, just so you can think differently about second round picks and trades. The Pacers currently do not have any second rounders for 2026. Okay, let's go back in time. It's 2019. The Pacers have cap space heading into another year. They're going to reshape their starting five around Oladipo. And who do they get but TJ Warren? And if you don't remember that trade, they got Miami's 2026 second rounder in the TJ Warren trade in a 3-team trade. They got a second round pick from the Suns. They sent that second rounder to Miami, got 3 picks from the Heat. Then, so the Pacers have 2 second rounders in 2026. They're in Miami's. Then in 2021, they trade pick 54 and pick 60 and a 2024 pick and, ding, ding, pay attention, the best of their own pick and the Heat's pick in 2026 to get pick 31. If you don't remember that trade, that was so they could move up along with Aaron Holiday to get Isaiah Jackson. So that's how the best of the Pacers and Heat's 2026 pick, the Pacers sent it away. That's how it got out. Milwaukee sends it to Memphis for Grayson Allen. A lot of other trades have happened. It's been swapped away a million times. But right now, Memphis would have the Pacers second rounder because of that trade. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about the worst of the Miami-Indiana pick? Why don't they have that still? Well, they swapped that one with the Spurs in 2021 when they signed and traded Doug McDermott away to get a trade exception. So now the Pacers would have the worst of those three teams. And then they traded that pick, the 2026 worst of San Antonio, Indiana, Miami, to the Minnesota Timberwolves, along with cash to get the pick that became Kendall Brown. So that's just a crazy web of transactions involving Kendall Brown, Isaiah Jackson, TJ Warren, etc. But that is how the Pacers traded away their acquired second rounders. Now, granted, they got a flyer on Kendall Brown out of that. That didn't go very well. They got Isaiah Jackson out of that. That did go very well. It's not like they did anything incredibly stupid, but that's a really good second rounder now. The 33rd, 34th, 35th, 36th, whatever pick is going to Memphis. Probably. It could be a different team because of that trade. They don't have that pick. But remember, this could also benefit the Pacers. Like they get a Cavs second that all of a sudden is extremely valuable in the top of the second round, for example. Like lots of things can happen in the past with the Nembhard pick I'm talking about, right? You can get a lot of valuable second rounders that you might not know if they're that far off in the future. So one, keep in mind that when the Pacers potentially acquire long off future seconds, but two, they don't have a very good second that you might have thought they had for the upcoming draft/trade season. Thing three that I want to talk about. With Rhett Bauer, when Rhett was on earlier this week, we talked about, for only a few seconds, like general Pacers needs. Everybody knows they need a center. They need a very good center by the start of next season. And then I said, they probably could use another point guard. That'd be a smart thing. I think one other thing to keep an eye on the ball with is there room for another wing here if you're the Pacers, right? Maybe not, but think about next year, right? And I'm not even saying all these players are locks to be on the team, but logically, looking at the contracts, Haliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, and whatever center they acquire as a starting five, McConnell, Toppin, and Huff as a bench. If they re-sign Mathurin, great, Mathurin's in there. If Mathurin's in a trade, maybe Mathurin's not in there. I'm not going to speculate on his future. I'm just commenting on his contract status right now. Okay, that's 9 guys. Then there's a bunch of question marks of Johnny Furphy, Ben Shepherd, Jarris Walker, Cam Jones, Garrison Matthews, Ethan Thompson, Quentin Jackson. Do they actually have their pick and use it? All those questions are did they just get a 10th guy who's a wing that's decent now if that player happens to be available? I'm not saying that they should go be buying a wing right now, especially not a particularly good one. That would be asset heavy at this moment. But if they can get a moderately contracted wing who they could be their 10th man, and I think particularly if this player can guard or defend, that would be something that I think should be at least explored a little. I think there's wiggle room to acquire that player and be confident that they'll play and be competitive. And, they have all these young guys they've tried to develop, but one more solid kind of wing level guy could make sense for the Pacers to me. Last one here, 2 other guys I want to opine on, and that is Derek Lively and Walker Kessler. I've also seen a lot of opining from fans about them, similar to Zubac. And again, right track from fans. These are good players. They're on their rookie scale deals. Their contracts are low. They're good. They'd be good on the Pacers. That's great, right? My point one that I wanted to say literally says this. They are both awesome. Great. And they're both on teams that are building, right? The Mavs got Cooper Flagg in the lottery. Their timeline is now not to win right now. It should be around Cooper Flagg. Maybe they'd be stupid and not do that, but I think they get the point, right? So why would they give away a really good young center? Now, an old front office leader drafted Derek Lively, but they have some holdover still. So he would not be cheap at all. Walker Kessler reportedly wanted $100 to $120 million as a free agent, and maybe the Jazz agree that that's the right value, but his cap hold's really low next year, so they wouldn't extend him anyway. Regardless, it's not an unreasonable ask. He's that good. Walker Kessler's that good. And Derek Lively's that good. Derek Lively dominated the Thunder in the playoffs 2 years ago when the Mavs beat them. He was amazing in that series, right? The Mavs probably care more about Lively now, given how bad this is and how they have Flagg. The Jazz, of course, with Kessler, he's good. He's their best center by far. And they're in the playing spot right now. They're playing good basketball. They might be good next year, right? These are really good centers, and they're young. That, of course, makes them appealing to the Pacers. That also makes them appealing to the Jazz and Mavs. I might have said that part before, but again, I see people talk about what the potential trade would be to get Kessler or Lively, and they're too low. I'm like, no, that if I'm the Jazz or Mavs, I'm like, no, that's not happening. The benefit that people keep saying is they're out for you. That's great for the Pacers who, maybe don't care about wins this year, or it's not as important if they win this specific year. That's true for the Mavs and Jazz too, right? So there's a lot of missed points with all three centers that I think have been heavily linked to the Pacers beyond the Gafford thing that Jake Fisher reported. So I think people need to realize how valuable those centers could be. And for those reasons, they'd be great for the Pacers if they were able to acquire them, to be clear. It's just challenging to do. I know people hate when I poo-poo all over fake trades, but like they've got to be good or reasonable. And I think people need to realize what is, really good players on really good contracts honestly sometimes takes more to get them, see the Desmond Bane trade that just happened, than like a star with a shorter deal, right? And a lot of the centers that have been talked about for the Pacers as potential their new starter fit that bill perfectly. I'm not saying it's going to take 4 first-round picks or anything, but just keep that in mind. Okay, Gabe McGlothan is on the Pacers now. Why did the Pacers do this? What does this hardship mean? What does it suggest that you don't know about? And I'm actually going to tell you about something super interesting he said at practice on Tuesday, all coming up here on Locked On Pacers. But first, everybody, need to tell you about 2 great groups of people. First up is Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all right on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood's Legends Advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies. With a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts, you expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Robinhood, your money, your move. I also want to talk to you guys about Gusto. Let's be real. Nobody starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. It's an all-in-one, remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. You can do unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, so no surprise charges at the end of the month. Their automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save everybody hours every single week. And knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, that's Gusto, GUSTO.com/LockedOnNBA. We're back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making this your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen, Locked On NBA Game Night. Myself and Wes Goldberg talking about the 2 games of Wednesday night. I dove in long on Bulls Cavs, so 2 division opponents for the Pacers. And then we talked about Grizzlies Wolves as well. Jock Landale had a 20-10 game. And thank you also, if you're listening, for being an everydayer, for listening every single day, being a part of the Everydayer Club. We actually have an Everydayer Club officially on the Locked On Podcast Network now, where you can get ad-free episodes, join an exclusive Discord, and so many more things that are a part of that. There's more information in the description. Okay, that's a lot of things to talk about. And now I want to talk about Gabe McGlothan, who is on the Pacers on a 10-day hardship contract. The Pacers, that came out Tuesday that he officially signed. That was the 16th, which is noteworthy because that means his deal runs through Christmas. Christmas is the last day that he will be under contract with the team. So he'll have 4 games with the Pacers. If they waited till Thursday, their game day against the Knicks, to actually sign him, they would have potentially gotten him for the back-to-back against Boston and Miami, but who knows how close Shep and Nesmith are, if that's even smart for them to do, first of all. But the practice time is valuable for a guy who might play. So there's a couple, first of all, push to the side McGlothan for a second, things that intrigue me about this. One is that the fact that this is even possible, that they have a hardship, means Ben Shepherd, whose initial timeline was maybe, looking like the 18th. I think Rick Carlisle on the 8th, before the Pacers played the Kings, said 10 more days. Well, now Ben Shepherd has to be out at least 2 more weeks. So he's probably out till maybe the end of the month. Same goes for Aaron Nesmith, who originally had a 4-week potential, not guaranteed, potential timeline as of like November 20th or something like that. I mean, we're already at that, and he's out for 2 more weeks as well. Haliburton and Toppin, we knew. So all those guys are out for at least 2 more weeks for the Pacers, right? As Gabe McGlothan is now on the team. So that's thing one that's noteworthy. Don't expect to see those guys playing. So obviously with Toppin and Shepard and Nesmith out, a forward makes the most sense, right? No dispute there. Gabe McGlothan's good. He's been pretty solid for the Boom. I'll talk more about him in a second. You guys all remember him presumably from the preseason, right? He was on the Pacers team for training camp and preseason, and he was good at a lot of things, but he took way too many shots and missed almost all of them. He's played well for the Boom. We'll get to him in a second. The other thing that's interesting to me about this specific signing is think about every other hardship the Pacers have done this year. They signed Jeremiah Robinson on November 1st. They played Golden State that night, and he plays. He's in the rotation that day, right? 4 days later, they have two guys get hurt against Milwaukee, Furphy and Quentin Jackson. They play Brooklyn on the 5th. They signed Cody Martin that day. He played that night, right? Garrison Matthews, I think he signed November 30th. The very next day, December 1st, they played the Cavs. Garrison Matthews is in the rotation that night. Nesmith was hurt by then. Furphy wasn't back yet. Q was back yet. Right. So their first three guys they signed to hardship deals, they signed them both. So obviously because they were really hurt, but they signed those players because they needed them to play then. Right away, they're hitting the court. They're going to contribute. This one, with no specific offense to Gabe McGlothan, doesn't feel that way to me, which is really interesting, right? They do have a hardship available. They do meet the criteria, but even right now, with all three of those guys, four really, if you can Haliburton, guys out, they still can easily put together a wing rotation or an off-ball guard rotation or whatever you want to call it of Ethan Thompson and Ben Mathurin starting, and then Garrison Matthews and Jarris Walker and Johnny Furphy with the second unit. And then, sometimes Nembhard's going to be playing the two next to TJ McConnell, and, Cam Jones might eventually be with the NBA team, and Quentin Jackson is back and could steal some of these minutes too. And, there's just not they don't need an immediate guy to play. It's different than the other hardships in that way. That's not to say this is a bad signing. This is just different in that way. So I think that the hardship signing, every time people have seen it, they've become accustomed to, the Pacers need that guy. He's going to contribute. I don't think that will be the case here. Also, obviously, Robinson had 4 years of NBA experience, and with Matthews, and Cody Martin had a lot more, or 5 or 6, whatever he had. Gabe McGlothan's never played the NBA, right? He played 4 preseason games for the Pacers this year, 1 for the Nuggets last year. Every other thing's in the G League for him. So this is a hardship signing, but it's much different than the one the Pacers have done before. So if you saw McGlothan in the preseason, you saw him be a pretty good rebounder, right? I think that was the most noteworthy thing he did. He was Furphy-esque in that he had a nose for the ball, kind of as a wing, right? He averaged almost 4 rebounds a game in his 19 minutes a night for the Pacers in preseason, but he shot 7 shots a game and made 25.9% of them. Yikes, right? Like, that was super inefficient. He was an Exhibit 10 guy. He was always going to end up in the G League, but that was a lot. In the G, though, he's been good. He's been playing pretty well for the Boom this year, which has been good for them as they have kind of rebounded after a slow start. With the Boom, he's averaged 17 points a game, shot 53% from the field, 34% from 3, and has 7.7 rebounds a night. So he's a good rebounding wing player. He's a little taller than Nesmith, I would say. That type of player can be valuable. He scored 20 points in 3 of the Boom's last 5 games. Like, he's definitely upped his effectiveness of late. I'm not going to tell you that he, is ready for NBA rotation minutes or anything, but like, if they're going to promote a Boom forward, it pretty much came down to him or Jalen Slauson, right? And they provide different things. Slauson's a better scorer. McGlothan, and you guys saw Slauson in the preseason too, provides other stuff. So I get why they would sign him at all. And it's a great story for him. And Slauson's already played in the NBA, obviously. But I don't think, like other hardships the Pacers have done, that he will be contributing right away, which makes it interesting that they decided to actually do it at all. They don't have to. Just because you're eligible for a hardship, you don't have to do it. So now they're paying him, or their cap hit on him is $132,000 for the, I might have that wrong. It might be a little lower than that because he has 0 years of service. He has not a big cap hit, but some amount of cap hit for his 10-day deal here. And he might not play at all. Or if they get blown out or they blow somebody out, he could make his NBA debut, which is always such a fun story. So I have no opinion of what he's going to do for the Pacers, but it's just different in that they might not need him to do anything, which having a player for depth or foul trouble reasons is not a bad thing, right? They have played all of the wings that they have, right, in a game. well, with Quentin Jackson back, maybe if they got into foul trouble or somebody else got hurt, they would just play more Q as an off-ball guard and call it a day. So even maybe that won't happen for McGlothan, but it'd be cool if he played for storytelling reasons. The other fun thing here, I want to share this. He is number 41, and I'll get to some personal intrigue with this, but that's not a common NBA number. Obviously Dirk, but like it's very unique. And I asked him at practice why he wears 41 this week, and his answer was very interesting. I'm just gonna not sure I'm supposed to do this necessarily, but I'm just gonna play his full answer from practice and show you the video if you're watching on YouTube. 41, not a particularly common NBA number. Is there any story behind that?
Yeah. So I'm big in my faith, right? So 40 is how many nights Jesus spent in the wilderness, and so 41st is kind of just coming out of that wilderness to know God's like faithfulness, all this stuff. So it was a number I decided to change to. Obviously 30's up in the rafters, so can't choose that. But I was like, you know what, 41, because it's like I'm gonna just trust God's plan, His purpose, and His faithfulness, and a little bit of believing in His hope, reward. So it's 41 for me. It's continuing to chase after the wilderness.
So really cool stuff. He has a really purposeful reason for his number, which I really enjoyed. He said he called his mom and she was like about to board a plane when he got his contract. He was really, and then he did media with us, and then he played in a scrimmage with basketball interns, and Cam Jones and I think Taylor Peter was in that game. And then he came back to take the mic again to thank like his high school coach and some of his agent and some other like really thoughtful and kind person. So just someone you like want to root for from a human perspective. I just wanted to share that. I thought that was interesting. Also, selfishly, my number when I played basketball was 41. Believe it or not, I did play at one point. I wasn't particularly good. I wore 41 because my birthday is 4/1. So much lamer and less purposeful than Gabe. I enjoyed that from him and thought I'd share it here. Okay, a couple more notes from practice this week beyond that signing that I want to get to in terms of Cam Jones, Ben Mathurin, Quentin Jackson, many more things to close out today's and to close out the NBA Cup break here on Locked On Pacers. But first, everybody, need to talk to you guys about Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there. Suddenly, the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. Rocket Money finds subscriptions you forgot you were paying. It'll help you clean them up quickly. You can see your spending all in one dashboard, which makes it easier to understand where your money is going. It automatically builds budgets based on past spending. It keeps you on track without overthinking it. Their bill alerts and spending notifications help you catch small things before they turn into big expenses. Having the app find good times to save money each month helps you stay consistent with your financial goals. So take control of your finances. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockdown today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockdown. rocketmoney.com/lockdown. And we're back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making this your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen, Locked On Knicks, the Pacers' opponent tonight and the NBA Cup champs. They deserve it. They played very well. They're playing really well of late. They're going to be a tough team for the Pacers tonight. I'd also like to shame the Knicks for not hanging a cup banner. The Lakers did it. The Bucks did it. You're not too cool for it. And oh, by the way, Knicks, you hung division banners. Hooey, you're telling me it's worth hanging a banner when you're the best of 5 teams in a division, but not worth hanging a banner when you win the NBA Cup, which is better than your whole conference? I don't care how arbitrary the NBA Cup feels to people. That's more impressive to me. And I think it will mean a lot more in 10 years. Divisions mean nothing to people anymore. It means nothing to seeding. Anyway, end my soapbox rant. I care about the cup more than everybody else. I get it. Okay, a couple practice notes that I would like to get to from this week. This starts with the Boom again. I just talked about them with Gabe McGlothan, but really with Cam Jones, who got assigned to the Boom on Wednesday night, not during the day. The Boom might have practiced Wednesday. I'm not particularly sure. I should probably know that. But what I do know about Cam Jones is I saw him after Pacers practice Wednesday, and then he got assigned after that, which is noteworthy because the Boom are headed down to Orlando for the G League Winter Showcase. First of all, the G League Winter Showcase happens. That's when a lot of execs go down. They can scout G League players, but they can really start chattering about trades and transactions. So, of course, keep an eye on that. But it's the start of the G League regular season. The Boom did not qualify for the tournament part, so they played 2 regular season games on Friday and Sunday. Cam Jones is assigned to the Boom after the Wednesday practice, and he's listed as doubtful for Pacers Knicks because of the G League stuff. It would not surprise me if Cam Jones plays in 2 games with the Boom down in Orlando during the showcase. And that's a great idea to me. I mean, I don't know if there's an easy route for him to play with the Pacers now. I don't know, quite frankly, if he's ready for that, with absolutely no offense to him. He actually played pretty well in his Boom debut. He detailed some of his back injury stuff at practice on Tuesday. It was the longest injury he's ever had. He suffered it right around the time the Pacers were headed down to Orlando for their practices at Pascal Siakam's place. So he had to like reacclimate to basketball, relearn conditioning stuff, things like that. And I've seen him in actual scrimmage or game action. Like, he looked pretty good for the Boom. Like I said, he looks more comfortable at practice every time we could see him scrimmaging. Like, to me, when he gets a screen or something, the defense is rotating and he sees space in front of him, he's really good at taking it and getting a pass off or finding a shot. But he is not great at creating that space himself. So more reps will be good for him. Talon Peter, very quickly, is also on the injury report for Pacers Knicks because of his 2-way contract, which also would not shock me if he went down to Orlando to play with the Boom for the showcase games, because it makes sense. There's no role for him right now with the Pacers in the way that Ethan Thompson, who is starting, and Quentin Jackson, who might be starting. That's my last point here on 2-way guys. Quentin Jackson kind of floated in his presser after practice on Wednesday that he got reps with the starters. And I think the Pacers tweeted, I mean, there were a lot of guys in white jerseys, so I'm not going to read too much into this, but the Pacers tweeted a photo of, you know, a practice session with guys in their white uniforms, and Jackson was one of them, and that was the starter uniform for the day. It would not shock me if he started in Pacers Knicks. I still think Ethan Thompson might get it, but Ethan Thompson was in a blue jersey, and he finally has a practice jersey with his numbers on it. So don't be surprised. Q did get that early stub in the third quarter of Pacers Wizards. That might getting energy on the floor, but keep an eye on that being between Nembhard and Mathurin, either as a quick early sub or as a starter potentially. That would just add dynamic play to that group. He's healthier. He says his first 2 hamstring injuries were not related. One happened, it was the same hamstring, which, so who knows what if they are or not. I don't know the mechanics of that. That's what he says. But he's able to do more now. He's practicing. He's feeling better. That could be a big element for this team, right? Like, he's a blower with the ball. I mean, he was great in their first win of the season. We all have seen what Quentin Jackson can do. I'm looking forward to see if he can actually add that to the Pacers and prove, what he's already mostly proved, that he should probably have a standard spot at some point. The last thing, your suspicions were all correct. Congratulations. Ben Mathurin did confirm after practice on Wednesday that he is still being bothered by his toe. It's something that is affecting him. He wouldn't get into specific details on like the how, like if it's a pain thing, if it's affecting him in certain parts of the game, if it's an all the time thing. But the way he's driving, many of you have pointed out that you felt like it looked different or it was impacting his finishing. And I said I'd look for it, and now I don't have to look for it because I know the answer. Ben Mathurin has said it out loud. He said it is, in fact, still bothering him. So first of all, bummer. Hopefully he feels better. Toe things can be horribly hard to heal from. Maybe this time off will help him. Like, it would not shock me if he just balls out against the Knicks tomorrow after a few days, but he had time off last week and wasn't like super awesome this weekend. But also the second thing, got to put the hand up, right? Kyle Taylor and I talked about the way he'd played of late, and we were both like, well, you know, could it be this or that? Perhaps it's just this toe injury, and we were just wrong to even have the discussion. Now, I'll say this. He came back from the toe injury and played well and better than this back in November. But this is a totally reasonable explanation for having struggles in different ways. And I don't know what specifically is bothering him or how much it hurts or if it's gotten worse or anything like that. So that'd be a totally reasonable explanation, right? So I have to put a hand up that is a perhaps better explanation even than some of the stuff we were talking about yesterday. And credit to everybody who noticed that, because I take pride in being able to observe and notice a lot of things. I never caught that. Anyway, tomorrow, obviously, we'll be talking Pacers-Knicks, a conference finals rematch on very, very, very different terms this time. Then the Pacers head into a short little road trip with Boston and New Orleans. We'll cover both of those here, of course, on Locked On Pacers as well. Thank you guys so much for listening today. You can find me on social media at Tony R. Reese and this podcast at Locked On Pacers. Back tomorrow talking Pacers Knicks. Till then, everybody, have a wonderful day.